Today, Tahlia and I are going to talk about how to write an ending for your novel that readers will find satisfying.
Be it happy or sad or bittersweet or even a bit of a cliffhanger. The important thing is that the reader is left satisfied.
So watch on for Tahlia's pithy tips on how to do that.
Hi, I'm Tahlia Newland, the Managing Editor for Alkira Publishing.
And I'm Rose Newland, the book designer for Alkira Publishing. And this is Loki, the lap warmer at Alkira Publishing. Now, a terrible ending can ruin an otherwise good book.
Absolutely. I have been known to throw a book at a wall and scream in frustration when that happens.
Yeah, I think I've done that as well. That was back when you read paperbacks though, right? You haven't thrown an e-book at the wall recently. Probably not a good idea.
No, but I have cursed the author and swore not to buy another book of theirs because I can't trust that they won't do the same in another book.
Yeah.
And after spending hours on a story, I really need it to end in a satisfying way.
Yeah. But I mean, a satisfying ending can mean different things for different people, I suppose. I mean, are you always looking for happy endings?
No.
Are you sure?
No. Well, not necessarily. I mean, if I want to be sure that I'll get a happily ever after ending, I'll read a romance, right? Because, well...
Beware the author who writes a romance without a happy ending. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not a romance novel at that point.
Exactly. Readers expect a happy ending.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with the romance genre.
That's right. It's a requirement, but only of that genre.
Yes.
But an ending doesn't have to be happy to be satisfying, right? In fact, you could have a happy ending that isn't satisfying.
I mean, I suppose a sense of closure is really what's most important for a satisfying ending, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's an ending. You have to resolve the main conflicts. You need to ensure that your primary goal or conflict is resolved, whether they succeed or fail, right? You have to resolve the main storyline, whether the protagonist fails or succeeds.
Yeah, the central conflict has to be resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to tie up the loose ends in any subplots or secondary conflicts. Everything needs a full stop after it.
Yes, but tying up loose ends doesn't mean that a problem or mystery in a subplot needs to be solved exactly, right? But it does have to be referred to. Okay. So not forgotten or left hanging. So you either provide a resolution or you hint at future developments.
And you need to show how your characters have changed and grown throughout the story, right? That's the inner journey we talked about in a previous video. If they haven't changed at all, it's like you're left wondering what the point of that whole story was.
Exactly, yeah. And the ending should also evoke some emotion, some emotional response from your reader, whether it's joy, sadness, hope, or surprise. Though I recommend not making your ending too bleak. You want to leave the reader with some hope, even if it's just a glimmer.
Yeah, I mean, some people love an ending that makes them cry.
They do, yeah. And if your readers cry, you do have a strong ending. I'm not personally keen on such endings myself, but that's just a personal preference. It doesn't mean they're a bad ending.
Yeah, it's like the ending of Titanic. It's like, oh.
It's good to leave some room for interpretation as well. So consider leaving some aspects of your story open to interpretation. And that will encourage your reader to ponder and discuss your novel.
So what about cliffhangers? I know you don't like cliffhangers.
I'm personally not a fan of cliffhangers, but that's because they're very rarely done well. Many of them aren't endings at all. The story just stops.
Yeah.
And that is not an ending. It's really annoying and it's not at all skillful. And calling it a cliffhanger doesn't make stopping the story without a conclusion okay. It's not okay because you've missed Act 3 of the 3-part structure, the conclusion.
Okay, so can you have a cliffhanger that's still a satisfying ending? If all the other elements you talked about are incorporated, then it might not be the kind of book that makes you want to throw it at the wall, even if it is a bit of a cliffhanger. Is that what you're saying?
So, yeah, exactly. So, like a good series has an overarching plot or theme that isn't resolved until the last book.
Yes.
But each book in the series should have its own plot, right? Within that overall arc. And the plot for each book should be resolved while leaving the overarching plot open until the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like if there's a major antagonist and his minions, then each story is a battle with one of the minions, and in the final book, the protagonist finally overcomes the major antagonist.
Yeah, that's a good
Or like
example.
in Harry Potter, for instance, it's
Well, that's
different versions of the same antagonist the whole way along, just in different weaker forms until the end, where he's at full power, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So, for instance, so you can have this conclusion, right, which ties up all the ends, leaves a few things open for next time, but the central thing is concluded.
Yeah.
And then you can add a little bit after that leads into the next story.
Yeah.
And that leaves the reader wanting to know how the protagonist gets out of that sticky situation. That's a skillfully done cliffhanger.
Right. But if it's an obvious play to get readers to buy the next book, then that can backfire as well, right?
Oh, yes. Cliffhangers are harder to get right than people think. Right? Most readers don't like to feel they're being manipulated into buying the next book. I
Yeah.
have read enough reviews to know that I'm not the only reader who will refuse to buy more in a series under those circumstances.
Yeah. So it's a very delicate balance, I think. You've got to be careful to think of a subtle way to hook the reader into a sequel than having a massive cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think so.
So what do you think about cliffhangers? Do they bother you? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you found this video helpful, let us know. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when we next post a video in this novel writing tips series.